I'm going to begin by talking about these images that were produced for my media coursework. These two front covers were a part of my project that was based around shoes. I had to make sure that my magazine would be fitting for my target audience, which was 20 to 25-year-olds, which is why I thought shoes would be a great project idea. I decided to name the magazine for Comfort, which is shown on both front covers, as well as my double-page spread, which is what I will display next. Linking my magazine to shoes, I wanted the images to be appealing. I made sure that the taglines, main headings and subheadings all appealed to what is inside of the magazine. This was something I had to thoroughly think about, as it's what's going to initially grab the reader's attention. For each of my magazine front covers, I kept the colour palette unique to every page. I wanted my front cover to be colourful but also look put together, which I think was achieved well due to the typography matching the main images. In one of the images, I had to include a model. For this, I used somebody of the target age so that the readers will look at it and have someone that they can personally identify with. I made sure that the model would be in the centre of the page, as she is the main image, which is highly conventional. This next page is also a part of my shoes project. It is a double-page spread featuring an article that I wrote about the newest shoes out. As well as the front cover, this has to be appealing for my audience. I wanted this page to appear very chic and professional, which I think was very successful. I think the shoe was very fitting and adds to the magazine having a high quality feel to it. The colour palette for my double-page spread was inspired by the background I used in my main image. At the bottom, I also displayed more images that I had to incorporate of shoes that I discussed in my article. Similarly to the front cover, I incorporated my Comfort masthead to portray the brand's name and also added two pull quotes that would also grab the reader's attention, which I think worked really well. This front cover was produced for my GCSE coursework. The aim of this front cover was for a beauty and fashion magazine, which I think was portrayed really well. Initially, as the reader looks at the magazine, they have a model all glammed up, making direct eye contact with the camera, which is highly conventional for magazines like this. Again, I ensured that the colour palette was the same throughout the magazine. I did this by highlighting the fur coat used in the main image and making the typography that I wanted to stand out best the same colour. The subheading, mastheads and taglines were all to do with what the reader can expect to see what's inside the magazine. Moving on, I thought I could show you a section of my photography project which I have named Wrapped. Initially, when researching and planning, I thought of the obvious, wrapping up objects and trying to create the illusion of not knowing what is underneath in a variety of materials. I tried out loads of shoots, firstly photographing unique materials by wrapping up objects in things such as string, tinfoil and bubble wrap. However, as much as these shoots were what the aim of my project was, I came to the quick realisation that it wasn't as interesting as I knew it could have been. This is when I decided to take my project further and explore more ways in which I can portray this idea. I came across images photographed by a photographer called Christine Kim, who inspired me to incorporate models. She used folded paper as a way of wrapping up models, which is when I knew it was something I wanted to try out. I began by finding a way of folding paper and made them myself. I then used hands and faces as a starting point, which I loved the outcome of. The shadows that were casted on the paper highlighted the folds that created depth of the images, making it interesting to look at. I wanted to see what more I could do. Thinking further, I experimented with more card and paper to get an alternative outcome. I really liked the look of doilies and the patterns they created. I found a design I liked and cut it out onto some card using a laser cutter. I did a few shoots incorporating the doilies by hiding them behind the models' faces and using them as a background, which I found unique. After reflecting on my project, I realised that the folded paper was the strongest part of my work, and I still knew I could do more. I love the simplicity of these images as they are unique to look at, however they do include pieces of my previous work like the paper. I think there is something really special about seeing the bare skin on the model's face and back to contrasting the shadows within the paper. Even though these images are completely different to my initial idea of wrapping objects, the process of figuring out my journey is exciting, and it has led me to somewhere I didn't think it would, and led me to more pathways which I can take my work further.